Hello, everyone. I'm the Sports Wiz 101, and today I'll be giving you my predictions for the NFC this coming NFL season. So let's get into it. Just like I did the AFC, we're going to start with the division that I believe will give us the top seed in the NFC. And that division, I should say, is the NFC West, where of course I got the 49ers winning. The 49ers going 14-3, that makes sense. I mean, they have had their fair share of holdouts as of late, so I could definitely see this being a bit worse. I mean, yeah, Brandon Ayuk, you have Trent Williams, they've been holding out as of late. But you look at the other 49ers, not the guys that holdouts, the guys that are at least showing up to practice, putting in the work, are going to be suiting up for the 49ers week 1. And they are up there for the most talented team in the NFL. Part of me also feels like they're almost due for a season-crippling injury, but I'm not going to predict anything like that. But yeah, 49ers, they seem like the clear favorite in the West. But then you look at Seattle. I think a lot of people are going to look at me funny for putting Seattle in second place. They seem to be underrating this Seattle team. I mean, Geno Smith's the quarterback, and sure, he's not the best quarterback in the world or anything. No one's going to claim that. He's not a bad quarterback, though. And he's still got some pretty good weapons in DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. All great, at least good receivers for the Seahawks. And then you have that defense that sure was not that good last year. But you look at their new head coach. Is Coach Mike McDonald. You see, Coach McDonald last year, he had himself a defense. E-I-E-I-O. And on that defense was a lot of talent, but they weren't going to be as good as they were, I feel, without Coach McDonald. And I think Coach McDonald being here is going to allow the Seattle defense to improve. Maybe not quite top 10 yet, but at least top half of the league. I think the Seahawks are going to be contending for a playoff spot once again. Then you look at the Rams. You probably heard Aaron Donald, he went and retired. So the biggest star on this Rams defense is no longer there. And now the question is, can the new players, can they step up to replace the production of Aaron Donald? I'm doubtful of that. I feel like the Rams might be one of the weaker defenses in the league. I mean, sure, they're going to be a pretty good offensive team with Stafford, with Kupp, with Puka. Heck, even Kyron Williams can be a pretty good weapon. But I still don't trust that defense enough to project them to be in that playoff hunt. And then you have the Cardinals, 2-15. They might be a bit better than this, but I just feel like they gotta have some rebuilding seasons coming up. And with that, we move on to the next division, the NFC East, where I have the Philadelphia Eagles winning the East. I mentioned that the 49ers might be one of the most talented teams in football. Well, I think the Eagles are right up there with them, especially now that they brought in Saquon Barkley to be their running back. Now, I know the Eagles, they had that epic collapse down the stretch last season. But now you gotta feel like it was mostly because of bad coordinators, a bad offensive coordinator and a bad defensive coordinator. They should have improvements in those areas with Vic Fangio helming the defense. Then you have Kellen Moore on offense. And that leads me to think you almost put Nick Sirianni on the hot seat here, because if the Eagles have some sort of collapse again, with as talented as they are, Sirianni might be the only person you can point a finger at. I also kind of have to adhere to the superstition that no one wins the NFC East in back-to-back years, and the Cowboys won it last year. And of course, Dallas, everyone's going to fade the Cowboys. I mean, they go out and lose quite a few players. They do just about nothing in free agency, unless you want to count starting the Ezekiel Elliott Nostalgia Tour. But this is still a good football team. I think people have faded them so much that they're now underrating Dallas. I think Dallas is still a playoff team. I think they take a wild card and they make the playoffs once again. If there's one thing Mike McCarthy is good at, it's coaching the team so that they can make the playoffs. Maybe not necessarily winning when they get there, but at least making the playoffs. And then you have the other two teams. I think they're going to be pretty bad. You have the Giants and the Commanders. I guess you could call the Giants the NFC's version of the Tennessee Titans. But at least the Titans have somewhat promise at quarterback. And they've compiled some great talent to put around Will Levis. I don't see that outside of Malik Neighbors for the Giants. I don't think Daniel Jones is that promising a guy at quarterback. And I think this Giants offense is going to be one of the worst in football. Why do I have them ahead of the Commanders? At least the Giants have a freaking defense. At least the Giants can claim a defense. The Commanders, they were one of the worst defensive teams last season. And while with a new coach, Dan Quinn, over there, the defense might get better, I wouldn't expect a grand improvement or anything. I expect the Commanders to be a bad defensive team once again. And it might be a long season for Jayden Daniels as the quarterback of the Commanders. Now looking towards the NFC North, where I think this is one of the biggest divisions to watch this coming season. And I have the Green Bay Packers coming away winning the division. They actually tie with the Lions. The Packers come out on top on tiebreaker. I'm just a big believer in Jordan Love. That's mostly what this is. Plus, they go out, they get a new defensive coordinator, so that defense should be improved. And that's not to say that anyone else in this division isn't good. I mean, you have Detroit, who, by now I think we know what Detroit is. They're a good team that will believe they can go for on fourth down just about any time. They're going to stop the run, and they're going to run the ball down your throat. So yeah, Detroit, they're a good team. They'll get in as a wild card. I also have the Bears making it as a wild card. And with all the talent they've compiled around Caleb Williams, it'd be almost hard for them to disappoint to the levels they had been in recent years. You have Keenan Allen there. You have Roma Dunze. You have DJ Moore. I mean, if Caleb Williams is the kind of quarterback that his talent suggests he can be, this Bears team should make the postseason. I'm keeping it a bit closer to what they've been here, just because I want to see it before I start predicting grand things like the Bears going on a deep playoff run or anything. But I do think the Bears should finish somewhere around 500. I got them here at 9-8. That'll be good enough for the postseason. And then they have the Vikings finishing at 7-10. They lost their rookie quarterback J.J. McCarthy due to an injury, but they still should have a pretty good offense just based on all the weapons they have. And that includes the league's best receiver in Justin Jefferson. They'll be a dangerous team, a very frisky 7-10. And then the last division, the NFC South, where I have the Falcons winning at 9-8. The Falcons, they go and they upgrade probably their two biggest weaknesses from last season: quarterback and coach. Now, some might look at quarterback and say, how can you say that old Kirk Cousins coming off an Achilles injury, is an upgraded quarterback? Trust me, Kirk Cousins could look old and be at 50% coming off his Achilles injury, and he'd still be an upgrade over what the Falcons had at quarterback last year. And then, I mean, I don't know if I've been that big a fan of Raheem Morris exactly, but I at least believe that Morris is going to put his best players in position to make plays. He is going to use Bijan Robinson like he should be. He's going to use Drake London like he should. He's going to use Kyle Pitts like he should. And of course, the Falcons as of late making moves to upgrade the defense, getting guys like Justin Simmons and Matthew Judon. See, I view the Falcons as the favorite in this division, though I wouldn't be surprised if Tampa or New Orleans went out and won the division. In Tampa's case, I believe I said before, I'm not a big fan of Todd Bowles. I view the Buccaneers' success last year mostly on the departed offensive coordinator Matt Canales. Canales now the head coach at Carolina. He's no longer with Tampa. I feel like the offense takes a step back. And then you have the Saints, who are just too inconsistent on offense for me to peg them any higher. And then you have Carolina, 4-13. Yeah, I truly believe the Panthers are in for a rebuild. They do get an improvement. They're not going to be the worst team in the league or anything. They're still going to be on the weaker side of things. But there you go. There's my predictions. Taking a look at the seedings, we have the 49ers getting the top seed in home field. The Eagles get the second seed. The Packers get the third. The Falcons get the fourth. Wild cards go to Detroit, Dallas, and Chicago. So playoff matchups would be Lions at Falcons. It would be Cowboys at Packers. And it would be Bears at Eagles. But there you go. There's my predictions for the NFC. If you like this, please like and subscribe for more to come. I'll be predicting how I would think the playoffs will go, including who I think will win the Super Bowl next week. Until then, I've been the Sports Wiz 101, and I will see you all later.